Hi guys, welcome back to In Case of Econ Struggles. Welcome to another exporting results struggle. Today and over the course of the next couple of videos, what I want to do is I want to keep building out this regression output, keep giving you guys different options with your regression output. So just what I thought would be helpful is to sort of preview the different tables we're going to talk about again over the next couple of videos, just so that if you're excited, you can make sure that you get notifications when those videos are published. And if you see something that I'm not planning on covering, you can put that in the comments below. And if enough people like that comment, I will add that to the list. So just to scroll down this LaTeX file here, what we're going to do is first we're going to talk about how we can add the mean and standard deviation of your dependent variable to your scalars of your regression. Just sometimes useful if you want to talk about, well, how does this effect compare to the mean or the standard deviation? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can add the number of clusters and the number of groups if you're doing like a cluster robust standard error, or if your observations are more groups. So for cars, maybe we're talking about the number of brands that we have in this regression. And then you notice that there are a lot of different decimal places. It'd be really nice if we could format these appropriately and we could choose how many decimal places we wanted to show. So in the next video, table 3 or video number 3, I'm going to talk about how you can format each scalar, just so you don't have those annoying double zeros after the number of observations or the double zeros after the number of groups. And you can add or subtract decimal points from the other scalars. And so that's sort of going to complete this regression table. Then we're going to move on and I'm going to quickly talk about how to make panel tables so you can have different panels in the same table. I'm only going to do 2 panels in that video just because I think it makes sense to do 2 panels. If you're looking for something more than that, again, put that in the comments below and I'll add a video about how to do 3 or more panels. But it's very similar to just doing 2. Again, put that in the comments if you want to see it. I'm going to also briefly talk about how you can work on fitting a table to a page. That's going to be with the adjust box command. You can also use landscape. You can also use a resize box. But I'm most comfortable with adjust box, so that's what I'm going to talk about. And then finally, I'm going to talk about how to run and interpret regression, where all the variables are z-scored or in a standardized form. And that's going to complete this next series of videos. But again, we're going to start off today by talking about this regression where we're adding the mean and the standard deviation of your dependent variable. So again, like, subscribe, comment below if you're looking forward to these videos, but let's go ahead and get right into making this table. So on the left-hand side, I got my do file. On the right-hand side, I got my stata window. Nothing really surprising. And notice I'm just going to read in the data and I'm going to define my notes and sources for the table just so it's handy. And what we're going to have here is I'm just going to do our normal regression, price, miles per gallon, weight, and length, robust, without controls. But then here is where I am going to put in the mean and the standard deviation of our dependent variable, which you can see I'm quietly summing. And then this is the dependent variable from the last regression I ran, which is this guy right here. This if E sample, it's only going to run the summary stats for the observations that were in this regression, which is really useful because when we go down to this regression here, we're going to lose a couple observations. I think we're going to lose about 5 observations. So when I do the mean and standard deviation of the dependent variable in the regression, I want those statistics to represent the dependent variable for the observations we actually had in the regression, not for the whole data set. If you wanted to do something differently, you could just drop this E sample, for example, if you wanted the same mean and standard deviation for the whole data. But I just want it for the observations in each regression, which is why I include this if E sample here. And we've talked about the return list before, and so I'm just doing that here. Notice one other thing that I put in this code just to help make it a bit more clear. You don't actually need the locals around R mean when you do the sum. So it's your choice if you want to do the locals around R parentheses mean or not. I did it both ways here. I got the mean and standard deviation for both of them, and they are slightly different, which confirms that it indeed worked. And then if we go down, the only thing that's going to happen is we've just added mean and standard deviation to our scalars list, and we've labeled those mean, price, and standard deviation price. And of course, everything else is the same. So I'll just do a clean run, and you can see if I scroll up in my output, that here is the mean and the standard deviation that stata added to this store of regression. Then if I go up, you can see that this is the mean and standard deviation I added for the first regression. Again, they're slightly different. If I were to open this text file just very briefly to take a look and pull it over from my other screen, you can see again that this is the table that we have in that LaTeX file. Everything worked perfectly and we are all ready to go. So again, if you're excited for the next couple of videos and you haven't done so already, please subscribe, please like this video or comment below if this was helpful or you still have questions. Hopefully, we'll see you next time for another case of econ struggles.